Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Lure Painting with Zach Baker. I'm Zach Baker and today we are painting a long-eared sunfish. Now there's 1,000 different types of patterns and color schemes that you can do for the sunfish. This is just one of many. I'd actually like to revisit this pattern in another video and do it kind of differently than what we're doing today. Today's choice of blank is a medium diver sent over from Barlow's Tackle. If you guys have never used one of these blanks before, I recommend you check them out. They have a different swimming action. So a normal square bill just has like a waddle. These have more of like an S to them. It looks kind of like a bait fish searching for something. I think it's always good to throw something that has a little bit different action to get those fish as the fish. It's good to get something to get their attention. I'll have the link to this bait and a link to some patterns I've made for it down below, top of the description if you guys are interested in both of those. Let's not waste any more time. I'll go ahead and get into painting this bait. Alrighty, I've already got this bait prepped and a base coat of white on it. If you guys are curious how I prep my baits, I'll have the video to that linked below. Here is all the colors we're going to be using today. I'm trying to get them laid out better. That way, in case you guys miss it in the video or I don't actually say what it is, you'll be able to see which color we're using. So base coat of white is on. I'm going to start off with an opaque yellow. Now we're just doing our base colors, so it's going to be pretty simple. We're going to be doing this yellow and then the blue. I'm going to do the yellow, cover the whole belly in yellow. We're going to come up about where the gill plate starts, kind of right below that center line. Next color up is the Wicked Blue. I'm going to go ahead and cover everything that's still white in this blue, and then we'll be ready to move on to putting our stencil on. And I do want it to kind of fade with that yellow just a little bit, but not too much. I'm not wanting it to turn green. So there's going to be a little bit of overspray where it's going to have a little bit of green because of the yellow and blue mixing, but I want it to stay as blue as I can. Alrighty, there we go. I'm going to clean out the airbrush, hit this with a hairdryer, and we're going to move on to putting our stencil pattern on. So this is the stencil that we're using today. It's a mesh ribbon. I am still working on the Baker Build stencil package, so that will be in there once I get that wrapped up. I'm gonna go ahead and get this on there. I'm more concerned about the belly because this ribbon isn't quite wide enough for the whole bait. I really want this belly to be covered with the stencil. If it doesn't go all the way up on top, that's okay. The first color we're going to be doing is a pearlized orange. Actually, it's tangerine pearl tangerine. If you don't have this color, that's okay. Again, with all this stuff, any color, any orange will work in its place. I just like the shininess from the pearl. So what I'm going to do is cover everything on the belly. Wherever it's still yellow is going to be covered in that orange. And right where it starts turning blue, we're going to let that overspray go up a little bit because we'll be moving on to a red and it'll kind of cover up the orange right there. So I'm not too worried about it trying to be exactly where the yellow is, but you guys get the idea. Next color up is a bright red, and I'm going to go ahead and cover everything besides the orange. We're going to let the orange kind of fade into it, and then we're going to cover everything else in the red. I'm actually going to take this red a little bit underneath the where the bill is, where the bill meets the body. Next color up is a pearl blue, and what I'm going to do is go back over the red. I really don't want to completely cover the red. I just kind of want the blue to be layered on top of it, and I'm also going to spray it at an angle. I think I did this in another video. Whenever your pattern's thicker, your stencil pattern's thicker, if you spray at an angle, there'll still be a little sliver of the red on the front half. You guys will be able to see it there at the end once we get the final shots of the bait. And I think that's all we need. I'm going to hit it with the hairdryer while the paint is still in the airbrush, and then take the stencil off, and we're going to come back and do a little more with that pearl blue. Alright, while I still have the blue in the airbrush, I'm going to try to hold the stencil pattern up here. We're going to come back over there with some black, the top of it, but I still kind of want that pattern to show through the black. So I don't want to do a solid opaque black on top. I just still want this pattern to show through just a little bit. Actually, before we do the black, I was just getting ready to spray that. We're going to grab some opaque white, and we're going to go ahead and spray where the little ear of the fish is going to be. I'm just doing that way I don't have to clean the black out, do the white, then put the black back in again. Trying to save a step. Since the top of that's still wet, I'm going to hit with the hairdryer. We'll grab the other little stencil and spray the ear. So you can either hand paint the little ears on, if you're doing like an assembly line, painting a whole bunch of these because you're selling them. I recommend making a little stencil, and this is one of the patterns I have that I was talking about at the beginning. It's just a little shape of the ears. Pretty simple, but if you're doing a whole bunch, it'll make it way quicker if you have a stencil. And what I'm going to do is find the point right where the gill plate comes to a point, and then I'm going to go up just a little bit, and then we're going to spray some opaque white on there. Just like that. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Of course, flipping it over. Now we're ready to move on to the transparent black. I'm also going to hit the white with the hairdryer real quick. Okay, all I'm going to do, so on the pattern, there's two different sizes depending on how you want it to look, if you want the white to go all the way around. On this one, I'm just going to do it right where there's going to be a white on one side and white right at the tip. So all I'm going to do is put the pattern on and then scoot it down just a little bit, right to where the gill plate starts coming into view. And there you go. I might have went a little further than I planned, but that's okay. That's a little more like what I was going for. That side's pretty wide. Let's see if we can straighten that out. I feel like if I keep going, I'm going to mess it up, but all right, I'm going to stop right there before I go too far and mess it up. All right, now we're going to darken up the back, and we're going to do up just around the eyes and by the mouth. I'm really going to try to keep it off that gill plate because most of the little sunfish gill plate is bright blue with that pattern on top of it. But I just think it looks a little bit funny all the way up on the mouth. So first off, I'm going to darken up the back. I'm going to hit this mouth. And right at the eye. A lot of the images on Google for long-eared sunfish, most of them have some red in their eyes, so I'm going with the simple red and black. These are from Barlow's Tackle as well, and they fit this bait perfectly. Yep, nothing left in there. Gonna slide the eye on. And then do the same thing on the other side. This bait is ready for clear coat. I'm going to go ahead and get that taken care of, and then we'll come back and see what she looks like all finished up.